I can say that this cat was rare, but I thought, man, forget it. Yo, home's the Bel-air.
Bel-air is back, and we're jumping right into the episode 1 recap of the final season. What we're going to see is Will running here. He's pacing himself. He's getting it in because Will, he had a traumatic last season. We know he ended up getting kidnapped. People put a gun to his head. Basketball isn't in his near future, maybe later on, but him and Carlton actually started a company. But what we see is him running, trying to clear his mind. But all he's having is flashbacks of when he got kidnapped and Jeffrey had to save his life. We also find out that LaMarcus is officially DOA, dead on arrival. RIP to LaMarcus. And our girl Hillary, she has to get over it because they just tied the knot last season. And well, he didn't make it. It's senior year for Will Carlton, and Ashley's a freshman now, so she's showing up on campus. Everyone's living the life now. Will finally got him a vehicle. He got the Lexus truck. They pulling up to school, and let me tell you, the Banks residents, the flyest individuals on the school grounds. Everyone on campus loves the Black Cess. We talking about sold out hats, sold out t-shirts, hoodies, everything. Hey Will, can we get one? Will's talking about you got to go get yours off the website. So it looks like these two brothers are doing their thing. Will and Lisa, they are doing good, and Carlton got him a new little shorty, a Bel-air cheerleader, and he gives her a little special something something too. So it looks like this senior year is going to be a grand old time. We know that Aunt Viv is pregnant. No one else knows in the house. The kids are getting ready for school. Hillary shows up. We know that LaMarcus has passed, and now Uncle Phil is basically telling her, listen, you can move back into the house. Whatever you need, we're going to be there for you. What Hillary is doing is starting to go to speaking engagements on behalf of LaMarcus because people need closure. And especially with him being in this tight-knit community, Bel-air, everyone knows him. So Hillary, she's dealing with that, mourning him and trying to just balance everything in life. She's stepping back from being an influencer and doing this all for LaMarcus. Will and Carlton are both preparing to go off to college. We know Will wants to stay local, USC, UCLA, get a master's in business, similar to what Mo got. Also, a little bit of entrepreneurship. Just doing my own thing because I am the CEO of my own company. Now, as far as Carlton goes, he wants to go to Princeton. Mine is made up, set. This is it. This is all I want to do. Now, the counselor is being honest with him. Don't be fixated on just one thing. Always have a backup plan. Reach for the stars, but just remember, there are a billion other stars. So if you can't get that star that you want, you can always redirect and reach for another. Aunt Viv goes to her checkup, and she knows that she's pregnant because she did a couple of tests. Well, she's over 35, so she's at a higher risk of geriatric pregnancy. Your body, your choice. But she's still here, and the nurse is saying, look, it could be all right. We're just saying we need to be careful, and we need to start administering and watching what you're doing early just to make sure that this is a good pregnancy. Uncle Phil is trying to put together a nice little shopping plaza for the people, by the people. Now, last season, we know people were protesting against it, but he finally came to common grounds, and they're going to call it Legacy Heights. And the people of the community are going to be the ones in here running it, making sure that it is ran the way that the community wants. But we also know we need to bring in some big dollars. Macy's, Nordstrom Rack, things of that nature. And that's what he has his business partner out there trying to fetch some things and make some moves. But he also says we don't want to do any kickbacks. We want to be legitimate. Nothing negative, nothing illegal. Now, Ashley, she's in high school now. She's not the little kid, and she likes boys. Well, she always liked boys, but she liked girls too. We don't know what Ashley liked, but she's in school, and she came to school with a pregnancy test. Now, she does have a quote-unquote boyfriend, and when he sees the pregnancy test, he thinks it's from them. He's like, wait a minute, we ain't even kissed yet. She's like, no, it's my mom's. But Will and Carlton come up, Ashley runs off. And Will and Carlton, just like on Bad Boys with Will Smith, they go over here and they question this young man. Was you kissing Ashley? You ain't gonna be doing nothing with Ashley. We know how that goes. You're not gonna do none of that. We invented that move. But then they like the kid. They just giving him a hard time. Welcome to being a freshman. As Will and Carlton are walking the halls, first day of senior year, they go around the corner and who do we see? Amira. Now she was in rehab with Carlton and she'll never let that rehab down. Now her and Carlton, they had a junkie connection and Carlton is clean and he doesn't want nothing to do with her because remember, he got a new cheerleader on his roster. Now Will sees Amira and he's like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm going to leave you two to have at it. Now, while Carlton is talking to Amira, the cheerleader walks by. So we see that Carlton, he's already starting off on the wrong foot on campus. Will and Jazz meet up, and what they're trying to do is get some footage or find anyone that has footage of the silver G-Wagon that kidnapped Will. But while they're walking over to the stores, Jazz is asking about Hillary. You know, I didn't want to hit her up. I heard about LaMarcus. And Will's like, man, you should go and talk to her. Jazz is nervous. But who wouldn't be? The woman you kissed that ended up getting married, husband just died. It's like, that's kinda iffy. They go over to this flower shop and they continue to talk to this lady and they're trying to convince her to give them any surveillance footage that they have. She's like, nah, she doesn't want to. So they say Jazz owns a business and Will lost a dog because she had a dog. So they convince her to come up off the footage. Carlton and Lisa have a good relationship now that they're friends. And he's talking to her about Amira and he's like, man, she won't leave the rehab alone. He don't want to talk about it. Well, while they're over here, Will pulls up. He's like, look, I got footage. Well, it's a still photo of the G-Wagon from this store. Carlton like, let me help. He said, nah, man, I got this. But Will, he's been flashing out. He's been having the PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder, where he keeps thinking about the people that kidnapped him. And he's like, listen, I want to be able to figure this out, Carlton. I need to figure out what these license plates are so I can find who kidnapped me. Aunt Viv hasn't painted in over a year. And we used to paint every single Friday or Tuesday. We would always draw a photo for Aunt Viv. Well, she's put the brush down, and now that she's pregnant, she really doesn't have the energy to do it. But one of her old friends, sorority sisters, comes over and says, hey, you remember Regina? The one that pledged us? She's like, yeah. Well, I kind of told her that you would paint a mural of her. Aunt Viv was like, I don't want to do that. But she's like, well, just put the paintbrush on the canvas and get to it, Aunt Viv. So Aunt Viv actually tells her that she's pregnant, but she doesn't know how to break the news to Uncle Phil. So Aunt Viv is about to get back into painting, and she needs to tell the family that she's pregnant. Will comes home and he's upset because Carlton told him that Uncle Phil was working on the situation. Uncle Phil is tracking everybody's phones and knowing exactly where they're at because of the kidnapping that happened. Will goes off on him, tells him, you need to be outside of Jeffrey's apartment. Well, he goes and talks to Aunt Viv about it. So Uncle Phil is out here and he's just saying he feels like this is all his fault. She's like, nah, don't look at it like that. Well, we think she's about to give the good news that she's pregnant, but she only tells Uncle Phil that she's about to get back into painting for her sorority sister, Regina, the former congresswoman. Will, PTSD is kicking in. He's in the room trying to figure out what this license plate number is. He done already wrote down 30, 40 different combinations. He can't figure it out. Carlton walks in, he photoshopped it, and he tells him, here's the actual license plate. And Will, I know what you're going through. I was having the same thing happen to me. It's okay. You can talk to me about it. But Will has a lot of pride. Will wants to find who kidnapped him, who put a gun to his head. He doesn't want to hear anything about having flashbacks. It's commitment day. We're about to see all of the kids of Bel-Air signing off to their college, the academy, the athletics. Remember, you're a student athlete. Academics first. Well, they bring Lisa up here and Lisa opens up her jacket. She's going to Howard to swim. Remember, she be in the water. She getting it like a baby dolphin. She's going to Howard. Everyone is cheering for her. Well, we know LaMarcus ended up going to this school also. And LaMarcus was a great football player. That's how he met Hillary. Well, since he passed, this is one of Hillary's speaking engagements. But while she gets up there, she gets a little choked up. And she has to run off because it isn't fair that LaMarcus passed away. So she leaves and everyone is sad. R.I.P. to LaMarcus. Jazz comes over to help Will with whatever information he has on this silver G-Wagon because Jazz's homegirl works at the DMV. Now, while they're sitting there, Hillary shows up. And we know what just happened. She just stormed out during the speaking engagement. Well, Will tells Jazz, go talk to her. So he goes over there and he's like, look, I wanted to give you your space, but I was thinking about you the whole time. And she's like, are you trying to push up on me? He's like, no. I'm just saying. I didn't want you to think that I wasn't caring about what you had going on. But Hillary, right now, she's grieving. You had to give it a while. It's only been a couple of days, a week, maybe 2 weeks. We don't know. But Jazz, he likes Hillary. Well, it's time to break the big news to the whole family. Gather around, everyone. Uncle Phil's pouring up champagne. Ashley talking about, I like champagne. He looked at her. She's like, I'm just saying the color. Well, the big news that they're about to announce is former Congresswoman, sorority sister, Regina, of y'all Aunt Viv, or to y'all mama, Vivian. Well, Aunt Viv is about to get back to painting. And out of nowhere, Ashley says, so wait, you're not pregnant? Because I found them pregnancy tests in your bathroom. So everyone's looking like, what is Ashley talking about? And well, Aunt Viv has to come clean. Yeah, surprise, I am pregnant. Later on that night, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv get into bed and they start talking about how old they are. Uncle Phil said he'll be 64 when the baby graduates. I'm like, dang, 64. So that means he's about 46. She's about 45, maybe younger. But they're joking around. And Uncle Phil says he's going to be there for her, which, of course, we expect that. That's his wife. That's his child. And then they joke around about if someone says they're going to pick up their grandkid, Aunt Viv says she fighting. Hillary is down in the kitchen, and she's just thinking about LaMarcus. She done moved back in, and she's talking to Will about it. And Will's like, it's going to be all right. And she starts putting all the blame on herself. Like maybe if she would have called 911 faster, maybe she would have seen any signs. He wasn't clear for that flight. So it's just a lot of weight on her shoulders. And she's also talking about going to another country where LaMarcus wanted to get a house. So she's still LaMarcus's wife. She's just a widow. And Will's there for her. And that's good because people are trying to be there for Will, but we see Will pushing everyone away. Carlton is trying to get into Princeton, and it's time for him to have his interview with Princeton. And well, when they get in there, they conclude it. And the guy is saying, well, you got the grades, but what is your story? We come across a lot of people that got the grades, they got everything, the charisma, but what is your story? And well, at this point, this is exactly what the counselor was telling Carlton earlier. You got to have more. And Carlton opens up and says, I'm a recovering addict. I almost died last year. They had to resuscitate me. So the guy's looking like, you did what? Okay. And then he kind of just walks out of there. But it leaves Carlton vulnerable. And this is, hey, Carlton, you might have to go to a local school, which isn't bad. USC, UCLA. Uncle Phil wants to get this Legacy Heights up and running. But they do need those big donors. They do need big sponsors. They do need partnerships with these big companies. Now, they're about to go on a major news network and do an interview and talk about what they're bringing to Southern LA. But while they're talking, Jeffrey comes in. Now, we know Jeffrey, he's been out of the picture for a little bit after the kidnapping of Will, and he got beat up. But he did get his son, Frederick Franklin, out of here. And, well, he's beat up. And now he's back to working for his old gang. And what he wants to do is launder money through Legacy Heights and make Uncle Phil illegitimate. Will got the address to where this vehicle is registered to. Will doesn't know that Jeffrey just said that he's back working with this gang. He's sitting in the truck. Carlton goes and finds him. And well, Will gets out and he's like, nah, I got to do this. He grabs a bat. Carlton runs to his car and grabs a pipe. They go over there and they start tearing the G-Wagon up, breaking the glass, hitting the doors. I'm talking about they are destructive young gentlemen. They put in that work. Hopefully their phones were off because Uncle Phil's going to be able to track that they went over here. But it doesn't look like Will cares. Will just wants to get even with whoever put that gun to his head and whooped on Jeffrey. All right, there you go. Episode 1 of the first 3 episodes that dropped. I'm going to try to put these out consecutively, 1, 2, 3. So whether that's today, tomorrow, and the next day, we'll figure that out. Let me know what you think about episode 1. Do you like the twist that they have here with potentially working with the gangs and the money laundering? I'm kind of want to shy away from that. I want to focus primarily on the kids going to school and living a normal life. This is taking us down a dark, dark path, and I ain't think we was gonna get this dark in Bel-Air. But let me know what you think about episode 1. I'm J. If you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers. I'm out.